The Nevada Attorney General says he is joining in the fight to crack down on those annoying robocalls. It's part of an FTC effort called Operation Call It Quits. Politics Now co-host Steve Sebelius is live in the studio with the details for us.
Well, we all get them, sometimes multiple times every day, and they are so annoying. The makers of the anti-spam app Hiya estimated there were 26.3 billion robocalls in 2018. That's up from 18 billion in 2017. But robocalls can also be costly. The FTC said this week that Americans lost $10.5 billion in fraud as a result of robocalls. That's why Nevada's Attorney General Aaron Ford says he's joining with his colleagues from around the country to educate consumers and fight fraudulent calls. Senior Deputy Attorney General Laura Tucker told us today that robocalls are a top priority for the Consumer Protection Division.
It is the biggest problem. It's been the #1 complaint at the federal level for a few years now. It's definitely the #1 complaint that we get at the office. I'm always, whenever I'm going out to different events, I always get a bunch of people coming up and telling me about the phone calls they're getting, and it's, you know, you and I get these phone calls all day long. It's the biggest problem that we're facing right now.
Tucker said her office is trying to educate consumers about robocalls so they don't fall victim to fraud. She warned people not to give money to people who call, especially in untraceable formats such as wire transfers or prepaid debit cards. Even if the caller uses personal information, be on alert, she said. Callers sometimes scrape personal information from potential victims' social media accounts, including the names of family members or even the last 4 digits of a person's social security number. And don't trust the caller ID, she said. It's fairly easy and inexpensive for robocallers to fake phone numbers, even those of public utilities and government agencies. Those organizations typically don't contact people about unpaid bills or overdue taxes over the phone, at least not at first. While most of us just hang up on robocallers, Tucker said we shouldn't judge people who fall for them.
There are very intelligent people that fall for this because the scammers on the other end they're messing with your emotions. They're trying to appeal to your fears, and those things are separate from how intelligent you are.
Tucker said the Attorney General's office isn't currently prosecuting any robocall violators in Nevada, but will investigate any complaints made to the office by members of the public or referred by other states. She said investigating the companies behind the scams is difficult because they hide their true locations behind fake phone numbers. Some are even located outside the United States. If you're the victim of one of these calls, Tucker says you should file a police report with as much information and documentation as possible and then inform the Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division. You can find a link to the AG's complaint form on our website. That's 8newsnow.com. Now, in addition to the current crackdown, Attorney General Ford and all of the other attorney generals in the country, as well as the District of Columbia, Guam, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands, have signed on to a Senate bill called the Tracer Act. That bill would authorize new technology aimed at rooting out fake calls before they get to your phone. It passed the Senate 98-1 and is now awaiting action in the House of Representatives. Brian?
I always like the Jerry Seinfeld move. Can I get your personal cell phone number? I'm busy right now. I'll call you back.
I'll call you right back. Oh, I've tried that.
they say no. Oh, you don't like getting those calls? Neither do I.
Yep.